My 8-year-old daughter said something that stopped me cold. She looked at herself in the mirror and said, "I hate my legs. They're too big." My heart broke because I knew exactly where she learned that. For years, I've been criticizing my own body in front of her without even thinking about it. "I hate how I look in these jeans. My arms are so flabby. I need to lose weight before summer." I thought I was just talking about myself, but what I was really doing was passing down my insecurities and my relationship with my body, my inner critic. And it wasn't just about body image. A therapist helped me see that I was unconsciously passing down my anxiety, my perfectionism, my fear of failure, and my people-pleasing patterns. Things I swore I'd never give to my children were being transmitted daily through my words, my reactions, and my behaviors. Once I understood what I was passing down and learned how to interrupt these patterns, everything changed. If you want to make sure you're not accidentally passing down your own struggles to your children, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because what you're about to learn could break generational cycles and give your child a healthier foundation than you had. Let me start with the hard truth. We don't just pass down our genetics, our values, or our family traditions. We pass down our unresolved trauma, our coping mechanisms, our limiting beliefs, our emotional patterns, and our relationship with ourselves and the world. Most of this transmission happens completely unconsciously through modeling, through our emotional reactions, through what we normalize, and through the messages we send about who they are and how the world works. Children are constantly absorbing not what we tell them, but who we are and how we move through life. The first thing parents pass down without realizing is their relationship with emotions. If you were taught that anger is bad, that sadness is weakness, that you should always be positive, you're likely teaching your children the same emotional suppression, even if you'd never say those things out loud. It happens through how you respond to their emotions and how you handle your own. When your child is angry and you say, "Stop being angry, calm down, don't be so dramatic," you're teaching them that anger isn't acceptable. When you're sad, but you hide it and paste on a smile, you're teaching them that real feelings should be concealed. When you apologize for crying or getting upset, you're teaching them that emotions are something to be ashamed of. I realized I was doing this constantly. I'd tell my kids it's okay to have feelings, but then I'd shut down my own emotions or minimize theirs when they were inconvenient. The message they received wasn't my words. It was my actions. Now I model healthy emotional expression. I say things like, "I'm feeling frustrated right now, so I'm going to take some deep breaths." Or, "I'm feeling sad about this, and that's okay, I'm just going to let myself feel it." I validate my children's emotions without trying to fix them. This is teaching them that all feelings are acceptable and manageable, which is the opposite of what I learned growing up. The second thing we pass down is our relationship with failure and mistakes. If you're terrified of failure, if you beat yourself up over mistakes, if you need everything to be perfect, your children are learning that mistakes are catastrophic and that their worth is tied to performance. This happens through subtle messages. When your child makes a mistake and you react with visible disappointment, frustration, or immediately jump to fixing it, they learn mistakes are bad. When you avoid trying new things because you might fail, you learn that laying it safe is better than risking failure. When you criticize yourself harshly for your own mistakes, you internalize that inner critic. I was passing down my perfectionism without realizing it. I'd get visibly stressed when things weren't going perfectly. I'd be hard on myself for small mistakes, and I'd overfocus on my kids' achievements and grades. My daughter developed such intense anxiety about school that she'd have meltdowns over a single wrong answer. Once I saw the connection, I started deliberately modeling a healthier relationship with failure. I'd make mistakes and say, "Oops, I messed that up," but that's how we learn. I'd try new things I wasn't good at in front of my kids and laugh about being a beginner. I stopped asking about grades first thing and started asking what they enjoyed learning. The shift in my daughter's anxiety has been remarkable. The third thing we pass down is our attachment style and relationship patterns. If you had inconsistent caregiving growing up, if your needs weren't reliably met, if love felt conditional, you might unconsciously recreate those patterns with your own children, even though you desperately don't want to. This shows up in how available you are emotionally, how you respond to their bids for connection, how you handle conflict, and what messages you send about whether their needs matter. I had an anxious attachment style from my own childhood, and I was unconsciously creating it in my kids by being inconsistently available, sometimes overly involved and other times emotionally distant, depending on my stress level. A therapist helped me see that I needed to heal my own attachment wounds so I could show up consistently for my children. I started therapy, I became more aware of my patterns. And I worked on being predictably responsive instead of chaotically inconsistent. If you're realizing patterns you want to break, subscribe and turn on notifications because we share tools for healing and interrupting generational cycles. The fourth thing is our relationship with our bodies and food. This one hit me hard because I've been so careful never to comment on my daughter's body or put her on diets. Yet she still absorbed my negative self-talk and disordered relationship with food just by watching me. She heard me criticize my body, she saw me restrict food and then binge, and she noticed my mood shift based on what the scale said. Without me ever directing any of this at her, she learned that bodies are something to criticize and control. That food is the enemy, and that worth is tied to appearance. Now I'm incredibly intentional about what I model. I speak about my body with respect. I talk about food as fuel and pleasure, not good or bad. I move my body in ways that feel good, not as punishment. I've stopped weighing myself in front of my kids. These changes are as much for my healing as for protecting them from inheriting my struggles. The fifth thing we pass down is our beliefs about worthiness and belonging. If you believe deep down that you're not good enough, that you have to earn love through achievement or people-pleasing, that you're only valuable when you're useful, your children will absorb these beliefs. They learn this through what you praise, what you criticize, how you talk about yourself, and what you model about setting boundaries and valuing yourself. I realized I was teaching my kids that their worth came from external validation because that's what I believed about myself. I praised accomplishments, but not character. I struggled to set boundaries because I needed everyone to like me. I overextended myself to prove my worth. My kids were learning to do the same. Now I deliberately model that I have worth just because I exist, not because of what I do. I set boundaries even when people are disappointed. I talk about character more than achievement. I'm trying to give them what I didn't get. Comment below and tell me honestly, what pattern do you think you might be unconsciously passing down to your kids? Here's what's beautiful and hopeful about all of this. Awareness is the first step to change. Once you see what you're passing down, you can start interrupting the pattern. You can heal your own wounds so they don't become your children's wounds. You can model healthier patterns even if you're still working on them yourself. In fact, letting your kids see you working on your stuff, going to therapy, apologizing when you mess up, trying to break old patterns, that's incredibly powerful modeling. I'm not a perfect parent and I'm not perfectly healed, but I'm aware now of what I might pass down, and that awareness lets me make different choices. When I notice myself modeling something unhealthy, I can repair. When I see my kids picking up my patterns, I can address it. We can't give our kids perfect childhoods free from any struggle, but we can work to not pass down our unhealed pain unnecessarily. If this video helped you see patterns you want to interrupt, please share it with another parent. Breaking generational cycles starts with awareness. Drop a comment and share what you're working on, not passing down, or what you wish your parents hadn't passed to you. Let's support each other in this work. And subscribe because we're building a community of parents committed to healing so our children inherit health instead of wounds. Thank you for being here and for doing the hard work of looking at your patterns honestly. Your children's emotional health is worth it.